Hi, thanks for joining me for Pilates today. I'm Susan, I'm a physiotherapist and a clinical Pilates instructor, and that just means I tend to teach Pilates in a physiotherapy clinic most of the time, using it for injury prevention as well as healing. We're going to get going into the class right away. I just want to make one quick but important point. If at all during the class there's a movement or position that doesn't feel right for your body, whether that's pain or otherwise, I encourage you to take a moment to pause. If you know a modification, you can give that a try. If not, just take another look at how I'm doing the exercise, another listen at my instructions, and then perhaps give it another try. If that still doesn't work, then just take a moment to pause, focus in on your breathing. Pilates is a lot about breathing. So if you can take a moment, pause, focus in on the breath, and then join us on the next exercise. With that being said, we're going to get started. So let's find a comfortable seated position. So you can sit with your knees out in front of you or cross-legged. Whatever allows you to sit up as tall as you can. You may need to put something under your hips like a cushion or a folded towel, just to allow you to sit up that little bit taller. And then once we get there, if it's comfortable for you, we're going to close the eyes. Otherwise, you can, if you don't want to close your eyes, you can keep a nice soft gaze a little bit in front of you. Just taking a moment to settle in on the mat, feeling our sit bones grounded down into the floor, bringing ourselves into the present moment. Pilates is all about the mind-body connection, so it's good to take a moment just to allow the mind and body to settle into the present moment. And I'm going to take this opportunity to review the Pilates breath pattern. So in Pilates, we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So let's focus in on that, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And when we exhale, we tend to exhale through pursed lips, as if we're blowing out a candle, let's say on a birthday cake. So if we can give that a try, if you haven't been doing that already. So inhaling through the nose, exhale through pursed lips, inhale through the nose, exhale through pursed lips. Keep going with that. The reason we do pursed lips is because it brings our abdominals into play, our abdominal muscles into play a little bit more. So as you continue to practice that, I'm going to make one more point. Pilates is a lot about posture, helping to improve our posture, as well as we really focus on posture during the exercises. So if as you're sitting there trying to sit up nice and tall, think about the rib cage being one cylinder and the pelvis being another cylinder, and we're stacking one cylinder on top of the other. So work with that image. We'll take one more breath in through the nose and out through pursed lips. Then we'll open up the eyes, place the palms out to the arms out to the side, palms up. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, float the arms up. You can look at your hands if that's comfortable, and exhale down. Nice big breath in, lengthening out the spine. Exhale to lower. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, lower. We're going to add a twist to this one. So inhale, arms float up. Exhale, twist to the left as you lower your arms. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Left again. Inhale, lengthening up the spine as you raise the arms. Exhale, right. Last one here. Inhale, back to center. and then lower the arms. We'll keep the left palm facing the ground, right palm comes up. Inhale, float the right arm up, and we'll tip to the left. And then exhale, back to the start. Inhale, left arm comes up as we tip to the right. Exhale, back to center. Right arm floats up, getting a nice side stretch on the right side of the body. Exhale, back to center. Left side. Nice C shape in the spine that we're creating here. And exhale, back to center. We'll add a twist now. Right hand floats up. We tip over to the left. And then exhale, gentle twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale, back to the start. Other side. Left hand floats up. We tip, twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. And exhale, back to the start. We'll do one more on each side. So right arm comes up, stabilizing ourselves on that left arm, twisting to the right, lowering the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, center, and exhale, back to the start. Last one. Nice big reach up and over to the right. Lower the shoulders as you twist to the left. Inhale, center, and exhale, back to the start. We'll move into our hands and knees now. So we want to find a position where the shoulders are directly over the wrists and the knees are directly under the hips. And our feet are nice and flat on the mat. So we want to push away from the floor so we're not collapsing down to the floor. So pressing that floor away. Our gaze is just ahead of our hands. And we're thinking about pulling in those lower ribs to create that stacking of the pelvis, the rib cage over the pelvis. We'll inhale, stay where we are. Exhale, we're going to round the spine from the tail to the head. Chin tucks in last. Inhale, we're going to send the tailbone back, dropping the belly, shining the chest forward, looking forward. Exhale, lengthening the tailbone to the floor, rounding the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, looking towards the belly button. Then inhale, moving from the tail first. And your head looks forward as the last piece. Exhale, lengthening the tailbone to the floor, rounding through each part of the spine, looking towards the belly button. And then inhale, sending the sit bones back, dropping the belly, shining the chest forward. On your next exhale, we're going to tuck the toes under, and then we're going to round back up again into the angry cat. And on your inhale, you're going to uncurl the toes, going into cow, moving from the tail to the head. Next exhale, curl the toes under again, lengthening the tailbone to the floor. Pressing that floor away. Inhale, uncurl the toes, coming into cow one last time. Make sure the shoulders don't creep up to your ears. Looking forward. And then we're going to meet in that neutral position that we started in. So where we're pressing the floor away, our neck is nice and long. Those lower ribs are tucked in. We're going to tuck the toes again. And we're going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover the knees just barely off the floor. We're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. So it really gets all the muscles going. We're going to do that again and holding for longer this time. So make sure you haven't collapsed to the floor. You're in a nice strong position. Abs are engaged. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, float the knees off the floor.
Just check in that you don't have all your weight on your legs. You're evenly balanced between the arms and the legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Breathing. Exhale, floating up again. Make sure your gaze is in front of your hands. You're pressing that floor away. Knees are hovering. Focus in on the breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. You can shift off your hands for a moment. We're going to do one more variation of that. Slightly different. Just to feel that warmth in the body. So we're going to come back onto all fours, evenly balanced. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover. And then tap your right knee to the floor. Back up. And then the left. So swapping, alternating sides. Just barely tapping the knee to the mat. For a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold in the hover and lower down. You can shift back towards your heels for a moment just to allow your wrists and shoulders to have a quick break. And then we're going to come onto our backs. So we're going to lay with our knees bent. And our knees and feet are hip distance apart in 2 parallel lines. We're going to float the hands up to the ceiling, palms facing away from us. And then we're going to join the index finger and the thumb to create a little triangle. And we're going to place that triangle on the front of the pelvis. So your fingertips should roughly be where your pubic bone is, and then the palm of your hand is roughly where your hip points are. So just elbows are floating. Inhale, hold where you are. Exhale, rock the pelvis towards you in a way that flattens the spine towards the mat. Then inhale, rock the pelvis forward onto the tailbone, creating more space in the lower back. And then exhale towards you, flattening that space. Inhale, rocking forward, arching the spine. So we're going to go back and forth like this. This just allows you to feel what your range of motion is like. We're inhaling when we go forward and exhaling to come towards you or to flatten that space. The reason your hands are there, I just want you to notice the angle or the plane of the pelvis as you rock back and forth. So as you go forward, your fingertips will be a little bit lower than the palms of your hands. And then as you flatten that curve, your fingertips will be slightly higher than the palm of your hand. So we'll go there each way one more time. And then we're going to come to rest in a position where the pelvis feels nice and level. So your fingertips and the palms of your hands are on the same line and your pelvis is parallel to the floor. So this is your neutral spine. So once you've found that, we're going to allow the hands to come to the sides. We're going to focus in on that breath pattern again, that Pilates breath. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through pursed lips. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through pursed lips. So keep going with that. You want to make sure that you're maintaining that neutral position that we set as we're breathing, so you're not changing the shape of your spine or pelvis. And on your next exhale, I want you to force it a little bit more so that towards the end of the exhale, you can feel your abdominal muscles start to engage. So inhaling through the nose Exhaling through pursed lips. Feeling those abdominals switch on without, again, changing the shape of your back. Let's do that one more time. Your next inhale, you're going to float the left knee to tabletop. Shin stays parallel to the floor. And then the right arm up to the ceiling, palm facing to the left. We're going to inhale, stay here. Exhale, we're going to reach both limbs away from the center. And inhale, back to center. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. So we're moving in 2 straight lines. And as you reach, you're exhaling, engaging those abdominal muscles. But you want to watch that your pelvis doesn't tip forward as you reach, or tip back as you reach, whatever the tendency might be. You're keeping that nice little space in the lower back, that neutral position. Let's do 3 more. Exhale, reach, return, reach, return, last one, return, and then we're going to lower both limbs down, and we'll switch to the other side. Just take a moment to check that your pelvis is still nice and level, and you have that small little space in the lower back. On your next inhale, right leg to tabletop, left arm to the ceiling. Inhale, stay. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. Exhale, reach. We're trying to move both limbs the same speed, along the same straight line each time. But your primary focus is to maintain that neutral spine as you reach your limbs away from the center. If you've done this before, you can bring your other leg to tabletop and your other arm up and just hold them there as you reach with your right leg and left arm. But if it's a new exercise for you, just keep those limbs down. We'll reach 3 more. 2. Last one. Center, and then we'll lower both limbs down. So that was working in a neutral spine. Now we're going to work in imprint. So we're going to allow our pelvis to tip towards the mat, closing off that space without forcing our back through the floor. So we're being gentle with it. You should already feel some abdominals engage just by doing that. So we're going to focus on the right leg first. So inhale, float the right leg to tabletop. Exhale, switching on those abdominals and bringing the right leg to tabletop. Inhale, left leg comes down. Right leg comes down, and then the left. So inhale, right leg to tabletop. Exhale, left. Right comes down, left comes down. So there's the pattern. First leg comes up. Second, first, and second. So the goal here, as you bring the second leg up, you don't lose that imprinted spine position. So you're keeping the lower back close to the floor. Use that exhale to flatten across the belly. We'll do 2 more. Staying nice and relaxed through the upper body as much as we can. Last one. And release the back. We're going to move on to some side lying work. So laying onto our left side, supporting the head with the bottom arm. That arm can be straight or bent, or you can also use a cushion underneath your head there. So bending that bottom knee, Making sure our pelvis is pointing directly forward so we're not rolling back off the mat. We're lifting the top leg past the height of the hip, and we're just going to point and flex the ankle here. You want to feel as if someone has a light hold on your ankle and is pulling your leg away from you, just to create length in your entire torso. Make sure that leg is not falling down towards the floor. We've got 6 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. We're going to turn the leg out. So we started in parallel, we're turning the leg out, we're lowering down, leading with the heel, then we're turning that leg back to parallel and lifting back up. So turning out from the hip, lowering, turning to parallel, so toes pointed forward, then lifting back up. So we're gonna exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. So while you're doing that, check in on your pelvis from time to time. Again, you want those 2 hip points pointing directly forward. So that turn out at the top is not a big movement for most people. But if you try to make it a big movement, you'll end up rolling back and losing the position of your pelvis. Last 2 here. Parallel, up, turn out, lower, and relax. We're going to stack both legs on top of each other. You want to just check in before we start the next one that you're not collapsing down onto the floor, so you're not scrunched here and lengthened there. So think about sending the top hip away from you so you create that length. Same idea with someone grabbing onto your ankle, like I mentioned earlier. We're going to float the top leg off the bottom leg, flex that ankle, and press away, and then return. As if you're pushing a box with some weight on it, so sliding it away, slide, return. Or you can think of it as we're working on a leg press, pressing it away, and then slowly controlling the return. The knee and the foot are pointing directly forward, and we're keeping even space between both knees and both feet. 4 more. Press away and return. Use your exhale to press away, inhale to return. Last 2, and 1, and return. We're going to press up onto our bottom arm. So position that bottom arm so that your elbow is directly under your shoulders, and we're going to send the hips and legs back a little bit. So just even in this position, we're going to come out of this slump, if that's where we've come to. We're going to come into a nice active position. If this is enough, you're going to hold here. Otherwise, we're going to inhale to prepare. And exhale, press off the floor, sending the hips forward, opening up those shoulders. We're going to hold here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. If that was enough, we're going to repeat that. Otherwise, I'll show you one other addition you can make. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, press up. Send those hips forward. You can also send the top leg out nice and long. You can even lift it if you want that much of a challenge. Opening those shoulders. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Okay, we're going to repeat that sequence on the other side, starting with the leg movements. So coming right down onto that bottom shoulder, supporting it with your arm or a cushion, bottom knees bent, top leg lengthened out. We're going to lift that leg up. Make sure the kneecap and the foot are pointing forward, as well as the pelvis. Once that's set, we're going to point and flex that ankle. Keeping that hip lifted, getting those glutes working. Keep checking in on the pelvis. Again, you don't want to be rolling back. We've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. Check in with the pelvis. Someone's holding onto that ankle, pulling you away gently. We're going to turn that hip out, lower, leading with the heel, turn into parallel, lift back up. Turn out from the hip, lower with control, parallel, lifting up. So we're really working that hip now. We want to inhale to lower, exhale to lift. When you turn out, again, we're not rolling back, it's a small movement. Exhale to lift, inhale to return. 4 more. 3, 2, last 1, and down. We'll stack both legs on top of each other. The heels are in line with the buttocks. Coming out of this collapsed position, if that's where you've ended up, so sending that top hip away from you, we're going to float the top leg up. Check that the knee and foot are pointing forward, and then we're going to press away, working on that leg press again. Exhale to press, inhale to return, sliding that box away. So as your hip gets tired, you might find that it starts to drift down or turn inwards, so keep checking that all the alignment is good. Exhale to press, inhale, return. We've got 4, 3 as you lengthen, 2, last 1, and rest. Pressing up onto that bottom arm, elbow directly underneath the shoulder, legs are stacked. We're going to bring the hips and legs back a little bit. Inhale, coming into this active position, and then exhale, pressing up, sending the hips forward, and holding here, opening up those shoulders. It's okay if you don't get the legs in quite the right position the first time. I could have moved my legs back a little bit. Last 3, 2, 1, and down. So I'll send my legs back a bit this time. Inhale, you can stay with that, or we're going to add on to it. So exhale, pressing up and forward. We can stretch the top leg nice and long. You can lift the top leg. Find the one that's challenging enough for you. And we're going to hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down with control. Awesome. Let's come up onto our hands and knees, which is almost where we started from. Making sure the shoulders are directly over the wrists and the knees under the hips. Your gaze again is in front of your hands, just slightly. We're going to send the left leg back. As you do that, just check that you haven't shifted all your weight onto the opposite side. So you want to you'll have a little bit more weight on the left hand than the right knee. Let's inhale, float that left leg up, tucking in those lower ribs. Exhale, knee comes to the center. Inhale, reach. Exhale, center. Inhale, reach. Keep going. We're working the connection between the left armpit and the right hip, so you're going to feel more weight on those limbs. Last 3, so reach, center, reach, last reach, hold, lower down, and then bring the knee under the hip. Other side, right leg lengthens, tucking in those lower ribs. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, center. Inhale, reach. Center. Think about it being more of a reach than a lift. Don't allow that head to droop down away from your spine. 4, center, 3, 2, and 1, and hold, and down, and then bring the knee in. Let's shift our weight back onto our heels, reaching the arms forward, and allow your head to come to rest on the mat. If this is not comfortable for you, you can use a cushion between your legs here or on your calves, or you can come onto your back as well. Whatever works best for you. We're just going to stay here for a moment just to settle our breathing down. So allow your head to relax completely. Breathe whatever way is comfortable for you. The Pilates breathing pattern is hard to use all the way through when you're first starting, so don't get frustrated with that. It'll take some time. We'll take one more breath in and out, sliding the arms or hands towards the knees. We'll gently press ourselves up, but stay in this curled position. Send your weight to your heels, so your sit bones are over your heels. Keep sliding the hands towards your feet as you stack your spine back up, one vertebrae at a time, opening those shoulders forward. Just going to come and face you this way. You can stay seated like this or come into cross-legged if that's more comfortable for you. And again, if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, we're going to close the eyes. Just settle the breath a little bit more. Feel ourselves grounded on the mat like we started. Taking a nice inhale as we shrug the shoulders to the ears. Exhale to lower. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, lower. And when you're ready, opening your eyes if they're closed. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.